Hey everybody, in today's video, we're going to be going through all the features and settings for the Casio Pro Trek PRW-61LD-5JF watch. This is module 5673 by Casio. Now there's going to be a whole lot of things we cover in here. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. I've done some slower videos in the past for individual topics if you wanted to review those. I also know you might not want to see everything on this watch, so I'm also going to put some chapters in the description so you can just jump to whatever specific topic you're interested in on the watch. So let's start with the most basic thing, and that is going to be your digital display down here. When you're in your regular timekeeping mode, you're always going to have your analog values. You can see my hour and minute hand and then my second hand. That's going to show you your time. You've got some different options though for your digital display. One of them is going to be the day of the week, the month, and your date. But while in timekeeping mode, if you simply press the top left button, that's going to be your toggle to change your digital display. Another option you can have, instead of the day of the week, you can have your barometric pressure trend over the last 22 hours. Each one of those dots is going to represent a 2-hour time frame. The blinking dot is your current one. At any point, you can look at your watch and see what's going on with your barometric pressure. And then the last option is going to be, if you press it again, you can have your digital time value down there. So as well as your analog time, you can also glance and see the digital time. Really simple when you're in timekeeping mode. Just press the top left button, and that's how you can toggle through those different views. Like most Casio watches, when you want to change to a different mode, you're going to be using the bottom left button, and all you're going to do is press it. You can see right now I'm in my current timekeeping mode. Press it once, it'll show you which mode you're in. You'll notice it quickly said baro, which is your barometric pressure, and then you've got this little subdial here that's going to point to all the different modes as well. So barometer, my temperature, my altitude recall button, saved altitude records, stopwatch mode, timer, alarm mode, world time mode, and then my receiving mode. This shows you the last time that your atomic signal was successfully received. And then finally you press it again, it'll take you back into your timekeeping mode. So with any atomic watch, not just this model, the first thing you always want to do is set your home city location. And the reason that's important is that's going to be the location that the watch tries to use at nighttime when it's pulling an atomic signal. So first, let's take a look. You've got a bezel here and you've got some different codes listed around it. Those are all of the different city codes that are available for you on the watch. What I would recommend is take a look at that and figure out which city code are you going to be setting your watch on. And then once you're ready, we're going to start by unscrewing the crown. This watch has a screw down crown. When you turn it towards you to unscrew it, you're going to hear some clicking and eventually it will pop out. You'll kind of feel it pop out. I'm going to simply pull it once while it's popped out, and you should see city blinking down here at the bottom, and then you should see your second indicator, your second hand pointing to the current city. So my current city is set for Tokyo. I'm simply going to turn the crown, and as I turn it, it will move to a different city code. You'll notice as it moved to a different one, it's also adjusting my time because it's using my time value from that given city code. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust mine. I need to go to Chicago. You don't have to sit there and wait for it to set. Once you've got it set to the correct city code you want to, if that's all you want to do, you can simply push the crown in and you've successfully set your city code. You've got a little indicator in your digital window down here that'll say DST if you have daylight savings time on. If you need to adjust your daylight savings time or summertime value, it's a lot like setting our home city. First thing you're going to want to do is unscrew your crown, and then once it's unscrewed, we're going to pull it out just like we did before with our city code. All we're going to do though is we're going to press the bottom left button, and that will take us to our DST value or DST setting. It will show you your current setting. So mine's currently set to on. We knew that because of the indicator. I can turn the crown and adjust it. If you're in an area that it will automatically adjust for you, you can set it to auto, or you can set it to off, or you can set it to on. Now remember, if you do off or on, you have to manually change it twice a year when you fall back or spring forward. Once you've got it set the way you want, you can simply press the crown in and that will save your DST value changes. So if you're in an area that can get the atomic time signal and set the watch automatically, it's really recommended that you do that. But if you needed to adjust your time or date manually, it's It's pretty easy on this watch. All you're going to do is with your crown unscrewed, you're going to pull the crown out just like we did before. But this time you're going to press the top left button when city is blinking, and that will take you to your time adjustment. The very first thing you're going to see is hour, minute. If you turn your crown, you can adjust your minute hand. When you adjust your minute hand, it's not only adjusting it for the analog value, but it's also going to adjust it for your digital value. If you turn the crown forward, it's going to go forward. You can also turn the crown backwards to go backward. Once you've got your minute adjusted, you're going to press the bottom left button to get to your hour value. When you press it, you should see hour blinking, and then again, we can turn our crown forward or backward. Go to which hour you need to, adjust your hour. Once you've got your hour set, again, we're going to press the bottom left button. That will take us to our year value. And again, we're going to be using the digital crown to turn the year either forward or backward. Press the bottom left button another time. It'll take you to your month and date. This one's a little bit complicated because if you're a long ways off, you have to turn the crown and it adjusts per day, and you have to go through every month to get to the given value that you want. So hopefully this value is not too far from you. Once you've got it set, now if I press B again, it's just going to take me right back through the cycle, take me back to my minute value. Once you're totally done, you're going to press the digital crown in, and that will confirm your changes, and you successfully manually adjusted your time. You'll notice that my analog time and my digital time line up, even though we just adjusted really the analog. So the next thing we're going to look at is keytones. If I press the bottom left button, not sure how well you'll hear it, but there's a beeping noise. That is what's called keytones. You can always press and hold that bottom left button as well to get you back to your main timekeeping mode. If you want to turn off keytones, all you're going to do is while you're in timekeeping mode, you're going to again unscrew your crown, pull out your crown, and then you're going to see the city code blinking, and you're going to press the bottom left button 2 times. The second press will get you to a value that looks like this. It's going to say key, and you can see I've got this little value out to the side. I can turn the digital crown and either mute it or turn them on. Set it to whatever value you want. I'm going to go ahead and change it to mute. Once you've got it set the way you want, simply press the digital crown to confirm your changes. It's going to take you out of the settings mode, and now if I press this bottom left button, my buttons are silent, so you won't hear the beeping noise whenever you're pressing buttons on the watch. If you simply want to turn on an alarm, all you have to do is go to the alarm mode. We're going to press the bottom left button 6 times. That will get us to our alarm mode. It's going to drop you in on the last alarm that you used. In my case, that was alarm number 2, and you can see it's set for 7:55 a.m. and it's currently off. If I want to change my alarm value, I can use either the top right button to go down, or I can use the bottom right button to go up. When you're on the given alarm that you want to turn on, let me find a good one here for us. Alarm number 2, when you're on that alarm, simply press the top left button and you can toggle it on or off. You'll notice when I turned it on, now we see the ALM indicator. If I want to turn it off, turn it off. Just have to be on the specific alarm you want, and then just press top left button. If you need to adjust your alarm time, you need to be in the alarm mode and on this specific alarm. So again, in my example, I'm on alarm number 2. It's currently set for 7:55 a.m. Now this AM PM indicator that you're seeing here is going to follow whatever time format you're in. So if you're in 12-hour format, you're going to see 12-hour format in your alarm mode. If you're in 24-hour format, you would see the same thing. We want to adjust it while we're on that value. We're going to simply unscrew the crown. Once it comes out, we're going to pop it out, and now you're going to see your value blinking for that given alarm. I can use the crown and I can turn it. You'll notice that both values are blinking. That means that if I keep turning, I will adjust the minutes and the hour. If I just wanted to adjust the hour, so let's say we're going to set it for, I don't know, 6:50 a.m. I can press the bottom left button, and that will take me to just a blinking indicator for the hour, and now I can simply adjust the hour value. All I'm doing is turning the digital crown. Once you've got it set the way you want, and if you want to adjust the minutes, you could just press the bottom left button again. Press in the crown, and you've successfully adjusted the time value for that alarm. Again, that's just for that one specific alarm. If you need to adjust a different one, you'll switch to a different alarm, pull out the crown again, and do the same exact procedure. If you want to test or listen to the alarm on this watch, while you're in the alarm mode, it doesn't matter which alarm you're on. If you press and hold the bottom right button, it will sound the alarm. It'll keep sounding as long as you're holding it. Once you let go, it'll stop. To view world times on this watch, you're going to press the mode button 7 times to get to the world time mode. Now, before we do that, let's look at my time. It's 11:50 a.m. My digital time and my analog time are showing that. When I go to the world time mode, this is going to switch. The bottom is going to be your home time. So again, it's 11:50 a.m. at my home city. My analog time, however, is now my world time. You missed it when I went in there. It'll actually show you what your world time city is when you land in that mode. Your second hand will point to that indicator. If you missed it, you can simply press the top left button and that will show you your world city value. The second hand was pointing to Sydney. That's my city. So analog time value is your world city. Digital value is going to be your home city. If you need to adjust your world city, you're going to unscrew the crown, pop it out, and then just like with your home city, you're just going to simply turn the crown, and every time you turn it, it'll point to a different world city and your time will adjust. Once you've got the city that you want, simply press in the digital crown, it will confirm your changes, and now you've successfully adjusted your world time value. If you need to adjust your DST value for your world time city code, while you're in the world time mode and you have your city code set correctly, you're going to pull out the crown. While city is blinking, again, mine is set to Sydney, all I'm going to do is press the bottom left button. That'll take me to my DST value again for my world time location, not my home location, and I can use the crown to either turn it off or turn it on. Once you've got it set the way you want, simply push in the crown to confirm your changes and you've successfully adjusted the DST value for your world time location. So the way I have my watch set now, my home city is Chicago, my world city is Sydney. But what if I'm going over to Sydney for a while and I don't want to have to keep going into world time mode to see my time? What if I wanted to switch those two? While I'm in world time mode, if I press and hold the top left button, it will flip-flop. It will make Sydney my home city and it will make Chicago my world time. So press and hold, and it's basically switched the two. You can see that now my digital value has adjusted because my home city is now Sydney and my world city is now Chicago. You would really only use this in the event that you're traveling somewhere and you're going to be there for a while and you want to just not have to go into the world time mode. Most people probably won't use this feature. Once I come back home to Chicago and I want to switch them back, I'm going to do the exact same thing and just simply swap the two values back. In the event you wanted the UTC value as your world time value, you could do the same thing we just did and turn the crown till you get to UTC, or while you're in world time mode, if you press and hold the bottom right button, it'll set UTC as your world time value. I'm going to briefly show you compass mode. I'm not going to get into too many of the specifics with compass. Basically, you're going to aim the watch at whatever direction you want to head, and then you're going to press the top right button anytime you want to go into compass mode. And basically, your north is going to be your bearing location. Your second hand should be pointing to the north. And then as you move, your bearing information will update down at the bottom. Your second hand will always point to the north. You can use the compass for 2 minutes straight. After that, it will automatically time out. If you wanted to take another compass reading, you would have to do the exact same thing. So what if you need to calibrate your compass? While you're in the compass mode, you're going to unscrew the crown, and then you're going to pull out the crown. You're basically going to follow these directions down here at the bottom. Now, you shouldn't have to do this very often, but if you needed to recalibrate it, while it's blinking, you're going to lay it flat or horizontally, and you're going to press the top right button. You're going to hold it still. It says to wait. Hopefully you can see this okay. Now it says turn 180 degrees for step number 2. I'm going to turn it 180 degrees. Again, I'm going to press the top right button, but it's now my bottom left button because we're 180 degrees. And again, I'm not sure if you can see this all right, but it's saying wait. And then when you see OK, you know you successfully calibrated your compass. If you don't see OK, you might see ERR for error. That means it didn't work. You need to do the steps again. Once you're done, you're simply going to press in the crown and you've successfully recalibrated your compass. So just like most watches with the compass on them, you've got two different options. You've got magnetic north and you've got true north. If you're wanting to use true north, you have to set your location's magnetic declination. And the way you do that on this watch is pretty similar to what we just did with calibrating the compass. You've got to be in compass mode. You're going to pull out the crown and that will take you into your settings. Now, right now, we're at the calibration setting. All we're going to do is we're going to press the bottom left button and that will take you into your settings for your true north. You can use the crown and you can set your magnetic declination. Your east and your degrees, it's only going to be in single digits, so you can't set something like 7.4. But you can turn the crown, go to whatever value you need to. If you need to just reset back to 0, you can use the shortcut of pressing the bottom right button and the top right button at the same time, and that will turn off the declination, put you back at 0. So now you're using magnetic north. I'm going to leave mine at magnetic north. Once you've got it set the way you want, you're simply going to press in the crown. That will save your changes, take you back to your compass. Like most Casio Pro Trek watches, this one has an altimeter feature, which will measure your altitude value. Now, before we go into it, I wanted to show you what you're looking at. Keep an eye on this bottom digital screen. When we go in, it's going to take an altitude reading every second for the first 3 minutes, and it's going to gradually build a graph. That graph is going to show you a blinking indicator that's your current reading, and then it's also going to show you your most recent readings. I believe it shows you the 6 most recent readings before your current reading. So let's go ahead and go into our altimeter feature. I'm going to press the bottom right button, and then this is what we're going to see. I'm at 53 meters altitude. I've got a blinking indicator down here that's showing my current altitude reading, and you can see every second it's building that trend for me. Now, you're not going to see much of a trend, or at least I won't, because I'm sitting here right now. But if I was out walking, or maybe I was hiking or something like that, you could basically look and see what's going on with this. After 3 minutes, you can adjust the interval that it's taking a reading. We're going to take a look at that here in a second. But this is basically the basic function. You've got your current altitude value down here at the bottom. You've got a trend graph of your most recent altitude readings. Your analog value is going to be your current time. Now, the one thing you can change is you'll notice my second indicator going around here. You can have it set to where it shows you your second indicator, or you can press the top left button while you're in your altimeter feature, and it will show you your current reading. Mine is 53 meters versus my saved reference altitude reading. And you can see the second hand is pointed a little bit up. It basically means that currently my altitude is a little bit higher than my differential value that I saved before. What this feature is for is, let's say you're going hiking. You want to set your current location as your reference altitude. Once it's set, as you go hiking or as you move, you can look and see whether or not your altitude has changed versus where you started from or not. So that's what that view is for. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this mode. I want to show you it will remember whatever you used last. So when I go back into my altimeter, instead of it showing my seconds, it's showing my reference value because that's the last setting that I used. So you might be sitting there saying, well, what if I want to reset my reference? So I'm out, I'm hiking, I'm on a mountain, I'm getting ready to start. I want to set my current location as my reference altitude. All I'm going to do is press and hold the top left button. It says differential reset, and now I've reset my differential for my current location, my current reading. Now I've got a new starting point. So there's been some time that's passed and I've got a different elevation reading. I wanted to show you what that differential indicator looks like now. Remember before when we set it, we were around 55, I think, meters. Now all of a sudden I'm at 4 meters. So you can see that my second hand is pointing down, and there's some little numbers inside of your chapter ring. I think when you've got your differential measurement in 100 meters, those represent 10. And if you've got it in 1,000 meters, they represent 100. So we can see that from my reference altitude, my elevation has dropped around 40 to 40 to 50 meters. And that's what that's showing. Now, if you're somebody who does something like maybe you travel in airplanes or maybe you do hiking where you're changing a lot of elevation, you can actually change this differential measurement range. While you're in your altimeter and you've got your crown unscrewed, simply pull out the crown. It'll take you into your settings. We're going to press the bottom left button 2 times, and this is where you can get to your differential measurement range. The default's going to be 100 meters, but again, if you're somebody who does really big elevation changes, you can change this to 1,000 meters. Press the crown in to confirm your changes. Now what you're going to see is my differential indicator hasn't moved. Once I get a bigger change, like if I went in an airplane or something like that, you would see this indicator move. So I hope that makes sense. It really kind of depends on how big of an elevation change you're going to have that you would want to set that value. In my case, 1,000 meters is going to be way too much, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to change mine to 100 meters, and then you'll notice once I change it back, because my reference altitude and my current altitude are more in the range of 100 meters, we can see that there's been an altitude change. So I hope that makes sense. That's where you get to your altitude differential measurement range setting. So what if you're in your altimeter and your altitude reading is just wrong? Or maybe you have a reference point you Googled, you're on a mountain, you have an exact marker where you know what the elevation should be and it doesn't match up with your watch. How can you calibrate that? I'm going to show you while you're in your altimeter and you've got your crown unscrewed. We're simply going to pull out the crown and your value will start blinking. You can then use the crown and you can adjust it to whatever you want to. So in my case, I should be closer to like 260 feet. Once you've got it set correctly, simply push in the crown and now you've adjusted your altimeter reading, and now you should be starting from where your reference point was that you set it for. Now you might be sitting there saying, hey, I don't want to mess with all this stuff. I just want to use the sensor as delivered from Casio. No problem. If you want to reset it back to using the sensor from Casio, we're going to pull out the crown again. This time while it's blinking, you're going to press the bottom right button and the top right button at the same time. That will turn off your calibration, basically set it back to where it's using the sensor as delivered from Casio. I mentioned before that the watch takes a reading every second for the first 3 minutes that you go into your altimeter mode. After that, it's going to follow whatever you have the auto measurement interval set for, and I'm going to show you that here. Where in the altimeter mode, I've got my crown unscrewed. We're going to simply pull out the crown, and that will take us to our settings for our altimeter. First thing we're going to do is we're going to simply press the bottom left button, and that will take us to our interval options. You've got 2 different options in here. Mine is set to 2. What this means is after the first 3 minutes, it will take an altitude reading every 2 minutes for 12 hours. This is probably a good feature if you're going on a long hike or an expedition or a trek and you want to measure altitude over a longer period of time. You're not going to get as much detail, but it will keep recording longer. You can turn the crown and you've got another option, which is 0, 0, 5. Those are your 2 different value options. 0, 0, 5, after the first 3 minutes you go into your altimeter, it will continue to take a measurement every 5 seconds, but just for 1 hour. After an hour, it will kick you out of your altimeter mode. This one's great if you're doing a short hike, a short walk, something like that. You want to get a lot of detail, see if your elevation's changing, but you're not looking to do it for longer than an hour. So set it to whatever value you want. Once you've got the value correct, you're simply going to press in the crown to confirm your changes, and that's how you change your auto measurement interval. You probably noticed that my altitude reading is in meters. If you want to change it, you have 2 options. You can put it in feet or you can put it in meters. Again, while we're in the altimeter mode, all we're going to do is pull out the crown to go into our settings. And this time, if you want to change your units, you're simply going to press the bottom left button 3 times. The 3rd time will get you to your units, and all you're going to do is turn your crown. You can choose feet, you can choose meters. Once you've got the value you want, push in the crown to confirm your changes, and now we can see that my altitude reading is showing in feet versus meters. Anytime you go in your altimeter mode, the watch will automatically record your high, low, cumulative ascent, and cumulative descent values from altimeter. It'll basically use the last values that you had when you were in your altimeter, and it'll continue on from there. So that'll automatically be recorded. But aside from that, you can also do 30 manual recordings anytime you want to take a recording of your elevations. Maybe you're out hiking, maybe you're at your deer stand, something like that, and you want to record that information. While you're in your altimeter, you're going to press and hold the bottom right button. I've just taken a recording. I'll show you in a little bit how we can go and look at those recordings. If you've already got 30 of them stored and you take a recording, it's going to delete the earliest one and override it with your latest one. But that's how you do a recording of your elevation. If you want to check out your altitude recordings, you need to go to the recall mode. Now I'm back in my timekeeping mode. I'm going to press the bottom left button 3 times, and that will take us to the recall mode. This is where all of your recordings from your altimeter are stored, whether the watch stored them automatically, or whether you stored them manually. It's going to drop you in on the last value that you are using. It's kind of clunky the way Casio did this. I'm sitting here right now, I have no idea what I'm looking at. You can always press the top left button and it will start you over from the given value that you're on. So I'm on my manual recording number 1. There's the date, the value, and the time for that recording. Again, I can always press the top left button and start over with that given value. If I want to go to a different value, I can use either the top button on the right or the bottom button on the right. Bottom button is going to move me forward. Top button will move me back. So here's my manual recording number 2. Manual recording number 3. So on and so forth. You'll notice after number 3, it takes me to max because I only have 3 manual recordings on the watch. Again, you can have up to 30 that you're seeing here. When you get to your maximum value, it's the same thing. This is the maximum altitude that my watch has saved while I've been in the altimeter. It's 185 feet. I can go to my minimum value. I can go to my ascend accumulation, my descent accumulation, and then it'll take me back to my manual recordings. So you've got all these manual recordings. I've just been playing around doing these videos. What if I want to delete one of those? You're going to want to go to the given value that you want to delete. Make sure you're on it. Again, you can always make sure by pressing the top left button. I'm on number 2. That's the one I want to delete. All I'm going to do is press and hold the top left button. You want to be careful here. You don't want to hold it too long, because if you hold it for too long, it deletes every value in your altimeter recall mode. So I'm going to simply press and hold. It says clear, and I cleared it. I can check because now I've got number 1 and I've got number 2, but I don't have number 3. In my case, I deleted number 2. That means number 3 has now become number 2. So I hope that makes sense. That's how you delete an individual record. What if you want to delete everything? I'll go ahead and do that now. Again, we're going to press and hold the top left button, but this time we're going to continue to hold it. It says clear all, and we've successfully wiped everything from our recall mode. All right, so if my calculations are right, we're about 27 minutes in. For those of you that are still with me, I hope you're enjoying the video. I hope you're getting something out of it. If you are, do me a favor and click the like button down at the bottom. It really helps get my video out there to other people who are looking to set their watches, so I appreciate it in advance if you do that. Let's go ahead and let's look at the auto illumination feature. Same as most Casio watches. If you want the backlight to turn on automatically when you tilt your watch towards you, you can set that on the watch. It does use a light sensor, so if it's bright outside, the light will not come on. It only works whenever you're in a low light situation. I'm in my main timekeeping mode. I've got my crown unscrewed. We're simply going to pull out the crown. It'll take us into our settings. We're going to press the bottom left button 3 times. The third press will get you to a screen that says auto, and it should say off or on. If you turn it on, the auto backlight will work whenever you're in a low light situation. Set it to whatever value you want by turning the crown. Once you've got it set, push in the crown to confirm your changes, and now you've adjusted your auto backlight setting. Along with the backlight setting, you also have a light time adjustment that you can adjust. Again, like most Casio watches, you've got 1.5 second or a 3 second duration. Again, I'm in my timekeeping mode. If I pull out the crown, we're going to do the same thing, but this time, if we press the bottom left button 4 times, it will take us to our backlight time duration. You're going to see one of 2 things, either 3 or 1. Those are your 2 options. Set it to whatever value you want. Again, press in the crown to confirm your change. To use the backlight on this watch, all you're going to do is press the middle button down here at the bottom. I've got the duration set for 3 seconds. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Nice and bright. It's a white bulb. Really easy to see. All your analog values, all of your hands, as well as your digital values down at the bottom. The next thing we'll do is take a look at the stopwatch mode. It's pretty simple on this watch. From the main timekeeping, you've got your mode button. We're going to press it 4 times, and you will eventually get to a mode that says STW, and that's going to be your stopwatch mode. You're going to be using the 2 buttons on the right-hand side. The bottom right button is what starts your stopwatch, pauses it, resumes, and then if you needed to take a split time, you're going to use the top right button to take a split. So I can look and see my split value. If I want to release it, I can release it. You do not have to stay in the stopwatch mode in order for it to work. You always have your time because your analog values are going to be your current time, but I can go to any other mode I want to. I can go to my altimeter. I can go to anything, and my stopwatch is still running in the background. So let me go back to it, and I'll show you that. And there it is. While your stopwatch is stopped, if you want to reset it, simply press the top right button, and that resets it back to all zeros. That's a look at your stopwatch. The next mode we're going to look at is the thermometer mode. So basically this watch will let you take a temperature reading. Now anytime you've got a watch that does temperature readings, I recommend taking the watch off your wrist, let it sit for a few minutes, and then take your temperature reading. And the reason for that is sometimes your wrist can skew that temperature value. You can actually calibrate for that with this watch. I'll show you that here in a second. So to get to our thermometer mode from the main timekeeping, we're going to simply press the bottom left button 2 times. It'll take us to a temperature mode, and basically it's going to drop you in and show you your temperature reading. So mine's currently showing 84 degrees. When you come into the mode, it'll take a reading every 5 seconds for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, it'll take a reading every 2 minutes for an hour. After an hour of no activity, it will kick you out of it. At any time, if you want to either move the hand so you can see your reading or just get an updated reading, basically restart that sequence, you can press the bottom right button and it'll start over the thermometer. So let's take a look. I've got another watch over here that's showing 82 degrees Fahrenheit. This one's showing 84 degrees Fahrenheit. What if we want to try and adjust that? I mentioned that if you have the watch on your wrist and you wanted to try and adjust it so that while it's on your wrist, it's actually accurate, you can do that. Or if you want to try and sync it to another device, you can do that as well. While I'm in this mode, I'm going to unscrew my crown, which I've already done, and I'm going to simply pull out the crown. You'll notice now this value is blinking. I can use the crown to adjust the value up or down. Now you might be sitting there saying, oh man, don't do that because you're never going to be able to get it set the way it used to be. I'll show you how we can reset that here in a second. Once you've got it set, this is called calibration. You can simply press in the crown, and now both watches are at least at the same starting point, and we can see if they track temperature okay. Now, what if you said, you know what, I've been messing with it, I've jacked this thing up, I just want to start over and reset it back to the factory default from Casio. Again, we can pull out the crown. While it's blinking, we're going to press the bottom left button and the bottom right button and the top right button at the same time. I've turned off my calibration, and now it's back to the default sensor reading as delivered from Casio. The other thing you might be wondering is, well, what if I don't want to see my temperature value in Fahrenheit? I want to see it in Celsius. While you're in this mode and it's blinking, you can press the bottom left button, and that will let you change your units. So you can set it to Celsius, you can set it to Fahrenheit. Just for kick's sake, I'll set mine to Celsius so you can see what it looks like. And there we go. This watch has a countdown timer mode. Works a lot like the stopwatch mode from your main timekeeping. You're going to press the mode button 5 times to get to your timer mode. You end up in a screen that looks like this. By default, the default value is a 10-minute timer. You can adjust this from anywhere from 1 minute to 60 minutes. I know a lot of people like to do a 30-second countdown timer. Can't do that with this watch. 1 minute's the minimum. Just like the stopwatch, press the bottom right button to start your timer. Press it again to pause it. Press it another time to resume. You do not have to stay in the timer mode. We can go to any other mode we want to. The timer will continue to run in the background. While it is stopped, if you press the top right button, it will reset you back to your default value. If you want to change that default value, again, while you're in the timer mode, you're going to pull out that crown. That's what's going to take you to the setting, just like we saw with other modes. Now you're going to use the crown here to adjust your value. It has to be in whole minutes. You can't do a 5 minute and 30-second default, anything like that. It's got to be a full either 1 minute all the way up to 60 minutes in whole minutes. Once you've got it set correctly, press the crown in, confirm your change. Now, when I reset my timer, my default has been changed to 5. So when you're using this watch, if you've got the digital time being displayed, your digital second should always match up with your analog second. And in my case, they're exactly measured up. But in the event that yours aren't, there's a way you can put them back into sync, and I'm going to show you how to do that. While you're in your timekeeping mode, we are going to pull out the crown. Mine's already been unscrewed. Unscrew that crown, pull it out. While your city code is blinking, you're going to press and hold the bottom right button. Now we're going to press it. You're going to see hand set. You're going to continue to keep it pressed until you see hand adjust, and then you're going to let go of the button. What the watch is going to do now is it's going to resync your analog hand to your digital time value. Once it finishes, it's going to tell you push in the crown. You're simply push it in. It's going to go back to your time, and now your second, your digital second, should be exactly the same as your analog second. Like most digital watches out there, you have the option of viewing your digital time in either 12-hour format or 24-hour format. You will know if you're in 12-hour format because you will see the AM/PM indicator out to the side. Now this is a global change, so not only is it going to be referenced down here for your digital time, but it'll also reflect in your world time values. But if you're somebody who'd rather have 24-hour format, all you got to do is when you're in your timekeeping mode, we're going to pull out the crown, and then you're going to press the bottom left button 5 times. Each time you press this, it's taking you to a different setting. The 5th press should get you to a screen that looks like this. You've got 2 options, either 12-hour format or 24-hour format. Set it to whatever value you want, press in the crown to confirm your changes, and now your time will be displayed in whatever format you just chose. Mine's now showing 24-hour format. You'll notice that the PM indicator is gone. As you probably know, this is a solar power watch. You might be wondering, how do you know what your battery level is? Basically, anytime you go into your timekeeping mode, you are going to see a little indicator out here to the left that shows you your battery level. You can either see a H for high, M for medium, L for low, a blinking L, and then when it really gets low, you will see a blinking charge, and then eventually the display will turn off completely. The lower your battery gets, it also starts turning off some of the functionality. So I mentioned it doesn't matter how you get to timekeeping mode. I'm going to go ahead and press the bottom right button. We'll just go to my altimeter real quick, and then I'm going to press the mode button. So since I went back to timekeeping mode, we saw that H there. My battery level is at high. To me, the easiest way to do this is if you press and hold the bottom left button, it will always take you back to your timekeeping mode. So if you want to see your battery level, just press and hold, and you can see your battery level when it puts you back in your timekeeping mode. That's how you check your battery level. You also have the ability to go into what's called power saving mode. What power saving does is if you haven't worn the watch in a while, it hasn't detected any kind of movement, it will turn off some of the functions and it will preserve your battery life. If you wanted to do that while you're in your timekeeping mode, again, we're going to pull out the crown. That'll take us into our settings. This time we're going to press the bottom left button 6 times, and on the 6th press, you will end up on a screen that says P-Save, and you can either have it on or you can turn it off. I personally always keep mine on. I know a lot of people like to always see their digital display and all that stuff. If I'm not wearing the watch, I'd rather have it preserving some battery life. Set it the way you want, and again, push in the crown to confirm your changes. So the next thing we're going to look at is the barometer. Now again, I'm going to go through this rather quick. I've done a video in the past that's a little bit slower. You don't have to go into your barometer mode to see your barometric pressure, at least not the barometric pressure trend. Remember, I can press the top left button while I'm in timekeeping mode, and one of my display options is this graph here. What you're seeing is a blinking indicator that shows me where my current barometric pressure is in relation to the last 20 hours. Each one of these little dots that you're seeing represents a 2-hour gauge, and you can see what's been going on with my barometric pressure over the last day. If you don't know, rising barometric pressure usually means that your weather is getting better. Dropping barometric pressure usually means your weather is getting worse, and if it's staying the same, you've got a stable weather pattern. So a lot of times you can use this to predict weather changes, storms, stuff like that. So that screen can stay on there as long as you want to. But if you wanted to go in and actually see your barometric pressure, we're going to press the bottom left button one time. It'll take us to our barometer mode. And then this is what you're going to see. You're going to see the exact same graph that we saw before, but you'll also see your barometric pressure reading. Now I'm going to show you, I've got another watch over here that's showing my barometric pressure in inches of mercury at 30.08. This one's showing at 29.8. You do have some display options. I wanted to mention it's just like your altimeter. Really everything about this is like your altimeter. It'll take a reading for the 5 seconds, every 5 seconds for the first 3 minutes, and then after that it takes a reading every 5 minutes for an hour. You can always press the bottom right button to restart that and take a reading as of right now. The other thing is you've also got the display option just like we had with our altimeter. If I press the top left button, I can look and see what is the barometric pressure doing now versus the last time I was in my barometer. And you can see that I've got a stable barometric pressure. Again, if I want to go back to seconds, I can press the top left button. If you don't want your barometric pressure displayed in inches of mercury, you can change that. While we're in the barometer, we can pull out the crown. You can also calibrate, just like we did with our thermometer and just like we did with our altimeter. If I wanted to set it the same as a barometer that I've got, I'm going to set it the exact same as my other watch, or at least close to it. I can do that. While I'm in my barometer and it's blinking, if I press the bottom left button, I can adjust my units. So it's showing in inches of mercury. My other option would be hectopascals. Once you've got it set, press in the crown, and now you'll be seeing your information in hectopascals versus inches of mercury. Just like before, I just adjusted my barometric pressure. If I wanted to reset it back to factory default, while it's blinking, I can press the bottom right button and the top right button, and it'll reset my calibration, put it back to the way it was delivered from Casio. So everything's really pretty much the same as your altimeter settings, just that you're using your barometer sensor. The other thing that's cool about this watch is it has a storm alert feature in it. Anytime you're in the barometer and there's a sudden change in weather, you will get a notification down here that will show you basically what that weather change has been. But you can also, while you're in your barometer, press and hold the top left button, and it will put on what's called info. You'll see it right here in the middle. Let me zoom in a little bit, where it says BARO. I'm going to get out of my barometer mode. I'm going to go back to my main timekeeping mode. And even though I'm not in my barometer, because we see that indicator there, for 24 hours, it will be tracking any sudden change in barometric pressure. And if there is a change, it will alert me on the watch screen. So this is like your storm alert feature. If you're out camping and you know there's some bad weather coming in, you can turn on that feature and the watch will notify you if the weather pattern changes, and then that's the indication that you need to get out of there. This watch does have an hourly chime feature. I should have featured this earlier when we were looking at the alarms. It's really simple. From a glance, you can tell whether or not you have this hourly signal on, because you'll see a little indicator here on the screen. I currently do not have mine on. To turn on your hourly signal, we need to go to our alarm mode. Again, we're going to press the mode button 6 times to get us back to our alarm mode. I'm going through this pretty quick because we've already looked at the alarm. When you get in here, you're going to use either the top right button or the bottom right button, and you need to get to the option that says SIG. That's your hourly signal. When you're on it, you're simply going to press the top left button to toggle it on. You'll notice now there's a little indicator, or turn it off if you want to turn it off. Once you've got it set the way you want, you can simply press the mode button a couple times, get you back to your main timekeeping, or we could have pressed and held it, but now we've successfully turned on our hourly signal. Because this is an anti-digital watch, a lot of times your analog values can be blocking your digital values. At any time, you can always move your hands so you can see your digital value. So if we wanted to do that, all we're going to do is we're going to press the light button. It's this bottom middle button and the bottom left button at the same time. When you do that, your hands will get out of the way. You can read your digital value. It will stay like that for 10 seconds, or I can press any button to move them back. In my case, I'm just going to wait the full 10 seconds, and I'll show you it move the hands back. Pretty simple stuff. If you ever need to move your hands, that's how you do it. This watch has multi-band atomic functionality, which basically means if you're in an ideal location and you have your watch set up for it, the watch can try and set its time every night at midnight. The negative about this watch is you don't have any kind of indicator showing you whether or not you got a successful pull like you do with the newer atomic watches. But it has its own mode where you can go and review that information. It's the RC or receiving mode. It's the last mode on the watch. We're going to press the mode button 8 times to get to that mode. You'll see RC there. And then basically what it's going to show you is the last date and time that the watch successfully received an atomic signal. For me, that was, 12 days ago. So on March 16th at 12:03 a.m. was the last time I successfully received a signal. Now, you might be sitting out there wondering, why is that? We've had some pretty bad weather here. A lot of times, where you have your watch located, do you have your home location set correctly? And what kind of weather have you been having will determine whether or not you get a successful pull. So that's how you review that information. What if I wanted to just try and manually pull an atomic time signal? I can do that while I'm in this mode. I can press and hold the bottom right button. When I do that, it's saying RC, and it's trying to connect and pull an atomic time signal. Now, we're probably not going to have much luck. I'm going to let it sit here and just show you. This process can take anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. We're going to see some different levels here. That'll show us our strength level. Level 1, Level 2, Level 3 is what you'll see. Level 1 is the lowest signal. That's what I've got. Level 3 would be the highest signal. If we get a successful pull, it will update my date and time with today's date and show me that I got a successful atomic signal. If it doesn't do it, it'll give me an error, and I basically have to try again. I'm going to let it sit here and we'll see what happens. Wow, you guys got lucky. I was thinking we were having a pretty good signal, so maybe we would get a successful pull, and we did. That's what it's showing here. It's updated my date and my time to the current time because that's the last time we got a successful pull. So anytime you want to go manually pull the atomic signal, that's how you would do it. Now, some of you might be watching this video and saying, I'm not interested in that atomic time signal. You can turn this feature off if you want to. While you're in this mode, we're going to pull out the crown, and you will see an option for auto receive, and you can either turn it off or on. So if you're not interested in this feature, or maybe you're in an area that just can't catch the atomic signal, you can turn this off, and then that way it preserves some battery life and doesn't try and do it every night for no reason at all. So set it the way you want, push in the crown. As always, once you're done with this mode, you'll simply just press the mode button one time to get you back to your timekeeping, and that's a look at the receiving functionality and the receiving mode. So I apologize, this next setting I should have shown you earlier when we were looking at the world time mode. We talked before about your digital display. I can look down here and I can see that it's 4:54 p.m. from my current location. When I go into world time mode, this isn't going to change. This is still going to be the digital value in your world time mode. So I'm going to press the mode button a few times, get to world time mode, and again, my home city time is 4:54 p.m. You'll notice that the analog time is my world city time. So analog, you can't see whether it's AM or PM. I mentioned before that you can press the top left button when you're in the world time mode. Your second hand will point down here or point and show you what your world city location is. For me, my world city is Sydney. Again, it looks like it's about, 8:55? Is it AM or PM? While you're in world time mode, press the bottom right button, and your second hand will point to either the A or the P up top to let you know whether your world city time is in AM or PM. So top left button shows you your world city code, bottom right button shows you if it's AM or PM for that city's time. Well, I think that concludes all of the settings and features of this watch. If I missed something, leave a comment. I'd be happy to help you out. Also, do me a favor. If you got something from watching this video, click that like button and leave a comment. Tell me what part of the world you're in and that the video helped. I'm always fascinated to know where people are at watching my videos. I'm going to leave you with my favorite feature, and that is the lume dial. Casio watches traditionally do not have very good lume. I found this watch to be exceptional. Again, thanks for watching. Enjoy your Casio watch.